Your paid ads could be helping your SEO or hurting it. Today, I'm going to break down specifically how Google ads and meta ads can help fuel your SEO to scale to 7 and 8 figures in annual revenue, and also how to avoid common mistakes that can crash and burn all 3 channels and send your brand to zero. So let's get into it. First, I want to talk about meta ads, okay? Every successful e-commerce brand on earth is running meta ads, right? Or at least 99.9% of them are, right? There are 4 main reasons that meta ads, 4 main factors that can help turn Meta into a growth engine for SEO. Okay. First is Meta's relationship with organic searches or organic branded searches. Okay. So whether it is paid ads on Meta or organic content on Meta that you later turn into, a paid creative ad, the more people that see that ad are going to then search for your brand name or your product name or whatever, something related to your brand on Google. Okay. If 1,000 people see that ad, there is some percentage of them, hard to say what it may be, that will then go to Google and search for your brand name or your product name. Okay. Now, if 100,000 people see that ad, there is, let's assume that same proportion, some higher percentage, like some higher proportion of people or higher volume of people are going to then also search for that on Google. Okay. Now, the more people then that search your brand on Google, the more trust you start to accrue with Google. Okay. Their engine relies primarily on relevance and authority. Okay. Relevance is like on-page SEO, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Authority is primarily done through link building. However, you can really sidestep a lot of link building by having a shit ton of branded search. Okay. I work with a lot of brands who have never done SEO, never really done link building, actually never done any link building, but 10, 20,000 people a month search for their brand name. And so when we start to make changes on their site, things are really fucking easy for them. Okay. They rank really highly very quickly because Google already trusts them, okay? And they trust them because there's 20,000 people a month searching for the brand name already, which means Google isn't like, okay, yeah, like that's a site we should probably trust, okay? So that's kind of factor number 1, okay? Second thing, audience awareness, okay? A lot of things that people search for on Google, they probably weren't even aware they were going to search for them until they saw some ad, okay? I didn't know I wanted to buy an air purifier until I had heard about the dangers of living in Los Angeles, the air quality, right? I was aware of it, obviously, to some degree, but I hadn't it wasn't really front of mind. Okay. Then I started seeing all these ads about why I should have one, all the other, pollutants and things like that I should be concerned with. And so I bought an air purifier, right? But prior to seeing those ads, I would have never even thought about it. Okay. So I've told a similar story before, but with the air purifiers, I saw once I started engaging with the ads, I started getting way more of them. Now, by the time all was said and done, I'd probably seen 10 different air purifier brands that advertised to me in some capacity on Meta. Okay. Now, when I was finally ready to buy, I went online and searched for an air purifier for myself, right? I don't think I typed in specifically air purifier, but I typed in some combination of those words. Okay. I assume I ended up probably buying from one of those 10 brands that advertised to me, but I honestly don't know, right? So all the money they spent on retargeting was probably a waste had they not done SEO. But assuming one of them did SEO, they got my purchase because they had hit me early and introduced me to the aware. They made me problem aware. Then they retargeted me, and then they also landed number 1 when I was finally ready to buy. Okay, so you can similar to organic branded searches, you can create more of those by create more branded creative content, so more people see it and then search your name. You can also produce / manufacture more non-branded searches by creating more problem awareness type content on Meta and pushing more spend behind it. Okay, that is growing the entire category. Okay, as you create more content, as more people see that kind of content, the category grows, more people search for it in organic search, you make more money. Okay, factor number 2. Okay, factor number 3, whether they came from Meta the first time, went to your site, and then went back to Meta, or they came from organic the first time and then went on Meta again, you can use Meta retargeting to continue pretty much harassing or spamming those people with ads until they finally are ready to buy. Okay, so it's another way, right? 4th thing is creative testing and message clarity. Okay, there are certain hooks you're going to have, certain ad headlines you're going to write that are just going to crush it, right? If they crush on paid media, very good chance they're going to crush on organic search. Okay, so in the air purifier case, whatever problem awareness angles they got me, if I were them, I would also go create blog content around that, because people are going to then search for it. I mean, shit. After I saw the ads, I went and looked up like if I should go buy one, right? If I saw their ad, hypothetically, and then I also went and searched for a blog, like an informational keyword, and I saw their blog, within a short enough timeline, I would have probably put together that those are the same two brands or the same brand. I would have instantly felt more trusted by them, and when I was finally ready to actually make a purchase, I would then go buy from them. Okay, so if you have a good like hook that crushes, you have a good ad headline, like very good chance you should turn that into some piece of content, whether it's on a landing page, whether it's an entirely new piece of content, whether it's your homepage H1, whatever, right? Like, but you got to use it. Okay, if it works one way, one channel, is probably going to work somewhere else. Okay, so that's Meta. How Meta can kind of boost your SEO engine, right? Google Ads. Google Ads is similar to, it's almost the same as SEO, except that you're actually paying for said clicks, right? However, where in Meta, you can pretty much manufacture or produce more demand for a product category, Google Ads and SEO, you can simply only convert the demand that already exists, okay? Spending more on Google Ads is not going to make more people search for your products. You are just spending more just captures a larger piece of the pie, right? Simple as that. You can't make more pie. You just get a bigger slice, right? Same with SEO, okay? With SEO, like in terms of metrics, you're kind of limited by search volume in some capacity, okay? Like if 10,000 people a month search for a product type and you rank number one, great. Your ceiling is 10,000, unfortunately, okay? However, if you're just starting SEO, Google Ads can be very informative to you, okay? It's the most informative to you if you're just starting SEO for the first time, and whether that means you're an established like 7-8 figure brand, or if you're starting completely from scratch. So similar to Meta, it's a lot of like validation on market and copy, okay? So Google ad headlines that work really well, that get people to, like, if you like click-through rates on Google ad headlines, again, odds are they're probably going to work in your SEO messaging. Great. Once you figure out which keywords convert the best, use those same keywords, like target organic content with those same keywords, okay? So if you have a Google ad that's crushing, like, best air purifiers for apartments, and you're just like crushing conversion on that Google ad, like keyword, very good chance you should just create an organic page also, and also win those conversions as well, using the same messaging you have on whatever landing page you have for the Google ad, okay? Great. So good keywords that convert to Google ads will probably also convert really well in organic search. Just do it with both of them. Similarly, if you have like keywords that don't convert at all in Google ads, don't bother doing it organic. Like, don't bother doing SEO for those kinds of keywords as well. Because if it didn't convert on Google ads, it's definitely not going to convert in organic search. Okay. Now, the beauty of doing it this way and thinking about like how these two different types of like traffic conversion mechanisms function, Google ads, you can determine if a keyword is going to work or not work inside of a few weeks, 2 to 4, probably faster. SEO, you have to first get to the top result to even figure out if it's going to convert. And that could take you many, many months. You want to spend a couple $100 and figure out in 2 weeks, or do you want to wait 6 months and try and save your money? Like, the answer is no brainer. Just spend the cash and figure out if the keyword's going to convert or not. If it converts well, do SEO for it also. If it doesn't, don't. Simple as that. When we start working with brands, like especially like brands around like the low 7-figure range who are like just starting SEO the first time, I always ask them to share their Google Ads keyword data with me, because it's going to save me time in keyword research. I can go do keyword research, but if I find, let's say, 20 keywords, and then I compare it against your Google Ads data, and I learn that 10 of these don't convert at all, well, then I'm throwing all the 10 out. Like, I'm not going to waste my time. So Google Ads can inform your keyword data in that way, okay? There's also, I'm sure there's some studies out there, but definitely from a anecdotal perspective, I believe if you are like, if you show up in Google Ads and organic search, you are now getting like 2 to 3 of the probably like you're showing up 2 to 3 times on the first page of Google and really like the top page of Google. If I'm searching for a new product category and I don't really know the players in the space, I am absolutely more trustworthy of a brand that I see 2 or 3 or 4 times on page 1 compared to a brand that I maybe see once, and obviously more than I'd see none at all. Okay, so Google Ads and SEO, really good. Like if you can show up more times on page 1, very, very high likelihood that you're going to get a higher click-through rate, which is going to lead to you obviously making more money. Simple as that. Okay. Last thing here is Google remarketing. A little bit different than like traditional Google ads, obviously. But similar to meta remarketing, if I go when I went to go search for an air purifier, like which one, what kind of technology am I looking for, all that kind of stuff, I saw Google remarketing ads for the next month and a half before I finally bought it. Okay, so the remarketing keeps it front of mind. Even when I'm browsing other things on the internet, I was still seeing those air purifier ads. Okay, now I was probably gonna buy one anyway, but even if I wasn't, keeping it front of mind for me is definitely increasing the likelihood that I'm at some point going to make that purchase. Okay, so Google remarketing can also, and again, not traditional Google ads, but it can also influence buying decisions down the road, right? So even if you don't get, and this is especially the case with higher ticket products, like air purifiers are a couple $100, right? Definitely requires a couple $100 products have a much longer conversion window than a $25 phone case or a $30 t-shirt. Okay, I can buy those and barely even think about it, right? The average consumer is going to spend a couple $100. They're going to need days, weeks, maybe even months before they finally pull the trigger on the purchase. So keeping it front of mind with Google remarketing, meta remarketing, obviously as well, you're increasing your likelihood that at the end of the day, your brand out of the other 9 brands you're competing with are going to get the sale. Okay, so good there. Now, into how they can hurt. Couple ways. We're going to break down 3 of them. Okay, so first off, over optimizing pages for conversion. Most successful brands that hit 7-8 figures are built off the back of a paid engine. Meta, Google Ads, more than likely both, potentially some other engines as well. Okay. That being said, all of their conversion rate optimization items have been done with PPC in mind. Okay. Now, the specific length of content, structure of content that works for PPC, whether it's your PPC for Google Ads as well as meta spend, meta channels, that content, though the messaging may be the same, the structure, the length, things of that nature are going to vary comparatively to what is actually going to work for organic search, right? Now, a bit of an uncommon hot take, even maybe, is you should, if you start to do SEO and all of a sudden you're noticing conversion rate issues just going crazy, organic search is all of a sudden crushing, but your paid ads are hurting to that same page, just silo off your paid ads landing pages, right? You can no index them. They won't limit, they won't affect you. If you no index them, they will not affect your SEO performance, and you can run as many paid ads to them as you want. You can tailor the conversion on those no index pages specifically to your paid ads traffic, and the SEO pages, the organic search pages, will be tailored to organic traffic. Okay. You can essentially have 2 independent, you'll have 2 different types of customers, quite literally, but you can optimize the SEO for the organic searchers, and you can optimize the paid landing pages for obviously paid visitors. Okay. You can run all of the CRO testing you want to your heart's content on those index pages, and it will not affect your SEO strategy. Okay. This is great, especially doing the long, sales page style, landers that are really popular right now in e-com. So that works really well, right? Those pages don't do a lot, don't work overly well in SEO right now, but they work really well for paid. So creating 2 separate page types and testing different types of traffic against them are great. Okay. There are exceptions where you'll run paid traffic to a page you already do SEO on, and it'll work well. Okay. I'm just saying, if all of a sudden your conversion rate is suffering in one way or another, just think about siloing off the paid ad stuff. That's all I'm saying. Okay. The other thing is with CRO. I work with 7-8 figure brands. A lot of them work with CRO teams. I've butted heads. We try not to step at each other's toes, right? That's just the deal with agencies working with brands. Okay. However, CRO and SEO are almost always at odds with one another, because there's not a lot of buy-in from the other side of things. Okay. As an SEO, I am hired to solve the lack of traffic and revenue issue that is pervading the company via organic search. A CRO team is hired to convert more of the traffic they're already getting. Based off of what I just said a minute ago, where most 7-8 figure brands are built off the backs of paid engine, CRO teams are largely focused on paid traffic. They want to convert paid traffic because there's obviously the most of that. I bring in organic search traffic. If they start testing, they start running split tests on product pages, collection pages, all those kinds of things, and they don't inform us or ask our opinion on things, they can hurt our SEO campaign, right? Similarly, we can build new pages, not tell the CRO team, and all of a sudden those pages suffer because they weren't properly optimized, right? It goes in both directions, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways it can happen. Okay. I work in a CRO agency that all of a sudden like took two of our best ranking pages for a brand out of the main menu without even telling us. Rankings and traffic just like plummeted, like over 50% inside of like a couple of days. Okay. And that's like simply because they took those two pages out of the main net. Those two pages were like at the focus of our strategy, and they didn't even tell us, right? So if you're going to be like doing SEO and CRO at the same time, make sure the shareholders are speaking with one another, and make sure there's a lot of transparency and visibility on what's going on. Okay, if you're running split tests, like communicate that. If you want to build out a new page, whatever, like as the SEO team, you need to inform the CRO team as well. Okay. The other thing too, I like to build pages very simple. Okay. I am of the belief that if I'm hired as an SEO, I am hired to solve a traffic and revenue issue. My belief is that we should solve the traffic issue first and then worry about converting said traffic. Okay. So I run into a lot of situations where CRO teams are like, oh, that doesn't look pretty. That doesn't look right. It's not in our brand image. If no one's seeing it, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you need to solve the traffic issue first, and then you can worry about converting. Okay. So that also goes back to my first point about how paid ads can SEO. Is like, if you want to do the CRO tier like as much as you want, like just silo off the pages so that we're not interacting with one another. Okay. That's that. Last thing with SEO is kind of more like a cautionary tale, let's say, is a lot of brands we work with start investing in SEO like late 6 figures in annual revenue, early 7. Not a bad place to be. I think that's actually like prime place for them to start doing SEO with an agency, like justifying those fees. I've also worked with brands that are like 20, 30, 50 million plus in revenue, and they're just starting SEO for the first time. And the theory, I assume, that they kind of stand behind is that, well, paid ads are going so well. Like, we just consistently put in, $1, we get out $3 or $4. Not at all a bad way to run a business, right? Like, that works really well, right? However, you take on more employees, you take on other agencies, COGS go up, tariffs happen. All those kinds of things can start to kind of chip away at your margins over time. Now, my last video breaks down the economics of SEO and like how to think about it and how, it can drop blended CAC over time and, the lifetime value of it. You start doing SEO like around the low 7-figure range and you do it well, you have already earned back so much margin that by the time, tariffs kick in, you hire more people, COGS go up, all those things, you're going to be in a much better spot because you invested in SEO early enough that your blended CAC was already dropping before those unforeseen circumstances kind of came into play. Okay. So it's not a certainty like that, tariffs are going to happen, COGS are going to go up. Like, that's probably actually going to be a certainty, guaranteed. But SEO can help you offset those things before they happen. So you're not knee-jerk reacting to things as they're happening. You have already kind of laid a plan in place, right? So paid ads really, really can help boost your SEO efforts early on, especially if you're doing paid ads really well. If you do paid ads, honestly, the paid ads hurting SEO can really only happen if you don't just communicate shareholders, right? If you're doing it yourself, you should know, like, you're the shareholder. You're going to know if it's going to work or not work and impact one channel versus the other. But I think the biggest thing on how they can hurt one another, SEO and paid ads, is if the shareholders don't discuss. So really, like, if you want to avoid hurting each other, just have a conversation. Simple as that. See you guys tomorrow.